All right, big game in the ACAC. I know we talked about last week how Heritage and Leo was going to go a long way in deciding the ACAC title. This is probably the other half of that.
Yeah.
When you take a look at Leo at Woodlan, obviously we put Leo, Woodlan, and Heritage as your top three teams in the ACAC, both record-wise, and then what you've seen on the football field. So what's the biggest key? Because Leo has had some tough games against Woodlan of late, considering, last year at Leo was a 14-7 win. Granted, there's no 6'4", 225-pound Jalen Bennett on the field, but they've got a smash and dash attack at Woodland. That's pretty good.
Yeah, Woodland has to be able to run the ball. Against Heritage earlier this year, they just could not run the ball, and that was the game. They lose 27-7 in 2.5 quarters because that was the night with all the rain and storms. Woodland has to be able to move the ball on the ground. Guys like Mitchell Van Brocklin have to have holes to run through. Leo did a great job limiting Heritage last week on the ground, and that's kind of a warning sign for me for Woodland. If Heritage can't move the ball, how's Woodland going to be able to? You look at Leo's and their dominance in this conference, 34 of the last 35 wins. Of those 34 wins, only 4 have been 10 points or less. I mean, that's the dominance you're looking at Leo. And I know ACAC teams really say, we're not going to let Leo depart this conference with another title. But I think they're 4 quarters on Friday night away from really locking up another one. So Woodland has to be better up front, open some holes up for those running backs. Ricky Ely did a better job last week at quarterback for Woodland. I was really able to sling the ball around a little more, which is not what Woodland was able to do most of the year. So we'll see if that translates into Friday, but Woodland has to have an effective running game.
You mentioned the running game. Heritage, a little bit more of a finesse offense. They can throw it a little bit more. Because Woodland has 2 guys back there in the backfield that can do it, and they both have a different skill set.
Yeah.
Getting smash mouth against Leo, do you think that's the most effective way to combat what Leo has, especially defensively?
I think it opens up things. If you're able to run the ball a little bit, okay, that opens up the passing game a little bit more for them. So while it's not the end-all be-all for Woodland, you at least need to be able to be somewhat effective on the. If you're forced to pass, Leo's obviously going to know what's happening. If you can have a balanced offense and you can kind of keep them off balance a little bit, that helps your chance a little bit more. But Mitchell Van Brocklin and Kitzmiller, I mean, I just like saying those names.
Yeah.
Those 2 guys, long names, cool names. So they both need some big games on Friday night.
The law firm of Kitzmiller and Van Brocklin, dangerous to prosecute.
For sure.
As far as Leo goes, it seemed like they got a little bit of their swag back last week against Heritage offensively because they were able to move the football not only on the ground but also in the air. I mean, they have to be feeling extremely confident heading into this game.
They had that double-headed, quarterback thing with Kloffenstein's in, but Hissong comes in to run Wildcat, and he can still throw. Obviously, he was the quarterback last year, so you can't just strictly say, okay, Hissong's in the game, it's going to be a run play. And I really like what Coach Stouter has done with that position because Kloffenstein, long-term, obviously, is the better thrower. Hissong he knows the position, he can run, so really has kept the defenses off balance the last several weeks doing that kind of joint quarterback spot. So in that respect, Leo really has it going on offense.
Yeah, we really saw Hissong step up a couple weeks ago. Play very well at the quarterback position. Experience obviously doesn't hurt. Other big games out there, Elkhart Central at Snyder, kind of an interesting game there. And really, almost every week in the NHC, you can go down and say, this is a pretty important game. We're talking about DeKalb at Norwell, Columbia City at East Noble, and Belmont at New Haven. All those games have a certain amount of intrigue, a certain amount of sexiness to them.
Yeah, that Norwell team, if they played 3 quarters, they could be undefeated.
That's true.
But, it's just been a struggle for Norwell to really close out games. It's tough to see because as a senior-dominated team, really looked at this year as being the year for them. And it's just they've been unable to play complete 4 quarters and put teams away. And it's a very difficult conference. And when you cannot have a week where you can really regroup and get some confidence, it can really be tough. So Norwell, I think they win this week, but DeKalb just week after week just surprises us. So Pete Kempf has really got that program going on, and I think it's another game this Friday that Norwell. It's going to be a game in the balance. I think late, and we'll see if Norwell can close it out.
And although I would pick East Noble to beat Columbia City, I like what Brett Fox is doing at Columbia City. That's not a game you tack up as a win on a Friday night heading in necessarily. And you mentioned DeKalb. I mean, there are no easy wins in this conference anymore.
Yeah, and East Noble's been a team where, okay, we figured them out, and then they come out and lose. And then, okay, we think they've regrouped, and then they lose again. It's just a team that's kind of, one step forward, 2 steps back in a lot of respects because it's a team that I think they're better than their record, yet we haven't really seen the results on the field.
All right, well, we'll have to check it out on Friday night. It is week 6 of the high school football season. We'll have it all recapped for you next Monday on Inside the Zone. He's Justin, I'm Glenn, and we'll see you then.